And welcome back to the Highlander Havoc. Round 3 coming up.
As promised, we didn't have that long of a break, but it seems that I had a microphone on when walking around there, so sorry for that inconvenience. But as Roope said, we are heading to round number 3, and we are having Harri Turkki playing an exciting one.
Yes, an Esper Paradox engine
Yep, seems to be his archetype. We
combo
are
deck.
very intrigued to see what's happening there. And Harri is playing against Tomas Grönfors, who is playing Goyfs.
Yes, so gonna be an exciting match.
Yep, and obviously there are enough Goyfs to make some tribal decks in 100-card singletons nowadays.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not just Goyfs we'll be seeing here, but definitely Pyrogoyf does have nice synergies with the other Goyf cards.
Yep. So without a further ado, let's jump right into the match. And so here we have Harri Turkki sitting on the left with Paradox Engine and Tomas Grönfors right with Jund Goyfs.
Yes, Tongarian Academy is banned in the format, so this not it used to be legal at some point, I believe, but
Yeah, it has been legal for some time, but it was banned. I don't really remember the years when it was, but several years ago already.
yeah, I believe when I last played Highlander,
And when was it? What
uh,
event was it?
it it was some Highlander event back in Poromagia. It probably is close to 8 or 7 years ago at this point.
Yeah,
So
probably the Highlander champs of some
yeah,
year.
haven't played that one in a while, and I do remember facing my first round being against the Bazaar of Baghdad, and the second one being against Tongarian Academy, with me having just mountains on my side. It did feel like people were playing different formats, but obviously the mono red deck been a mainstay of the format for a long time.
Yeah, two things are certain. Death is one of them, and then mono red being a thing in every format in this game.
It is gonna be Overlord, the black version, which does mean there is an impending cost.
Remind me about the name of the card.
It's Overlord of I don't be, I don't remember which.
Bale Mark.
Yes.
Yes. Let's have a look to the card, because yeah, this is one of the cards I have
Yeah.
never seen.
It is from the Duskmourn set, and you can cast. It is part of a cycle where all the Overlord cost can be cast for the impending cost, which is a lot cheaper. Where you get the enters the battlefield trigger, and every turn the timer counts down, and when the last counter is removed, it does become a creature.
Yeah, all right.
It is a sweet one seeing play in Pioneer and Standard quite a bit. It is with everyone's favorite up the beanstalk. It's quite nice to get trigger even if you cast it for the cheaper cost.
Yep. And there we have a
Scrap
scrap
Trawler,
trawler.
which is a famous, a very common combo win condition in the or part of combos in different kind of artifact things with KCI and
Mhm.
stuff like that, but it is also just a nice value card that, well, if you kill this, then something is gonna come back.
Yep.
It is gonna be just Ren and 6 here, getting a land back from the graveyard, I think. But I don't know if there's a land in graveyard. I don't necessarily think so.
I could actually go to remind the players to keep the cards a bit more centered in the match once again, so they are
Yeah.
easier to observe. I will be back in a moment.
Yes. And well, now you just have to deal with me. It is gonna be, I don't know what the land is. Maybe a haunted ridge, or is it some kind of universes beyond card? I'm not sure with what the land being played was, but here we have an attack for 3 to Bren and 6. See what the follow up is for Harri here. Now the tablet does not show all the life totals. Now we have it here after some adjustment. It is gonna be Ancient Tomb tapped for 2 mana along other mana sources, and a Batterskull hits the battlefield, being probably quite annoying card for the Chant deck to deal with. Kind of used to be one of the more dominant cards in the format back in the day, I think, but
What, Batterskull?
yes.
Yeah, there was a time when Chase the Mind Sculptor, the one and only, was printed. There was a blue-white control which played Chases, it played Stoneforge Mystics, it played Batterskulls, and then it played Squadron Hawks.
Yes, and the co-blade was dominant one for sure. These days not so popular choice, but do see it sometimes, especially in decks that do have the Stoneforge Mystic, which could be in Harry's deck as well, as it is an Esper deck. And obviously with mono red being a popular deck in the Highlander format, the Batterskull is something a lot of decks do run.
Yep.
Okay, so looks like that is a Bloodstained Mire being sacked. Did not know such an art existed, but
Yeah, Tomas has opted for going with the different art styles of his land base.
yes, there is nothing wrong with that, although it does hurt the casters, as we do not recognize all the arts being not that active. And there is these days there are a lot of arts to choose from, which is cool, but also
It's not fun.
hard to keep track of.
Yeah, and not that fun for the collectors.
Yeah,
Or is it? You get to get more of the same stuff.
I think some people like it and some people don't. If I had to make my guess, it is gonna be a faithless looting.
Yep, that's one of the more controversial arts.
Yes. And it is gonna be at least Metamorphosis Fanatic being.
Another stable we saw yesterday a whole lot.
Yeah.
Demonic Tutor, there is one of the notorious powerhouses of this
Not
format.
sure what her discards were, but Reanimate is definitely a reasonable option to get. And
Yeah, you are right on point.
This is
You
what is gonna be
you don't
happening.
need to reveal the card for the demonic tutor, but why not?
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's gonna be cast the moment it is searched for. So
Yeah. So now you get the fanatic
fanatic,
back, and then you get something else back, and things are starting to look
and
okay for Thomas.
apparently there is no other creatures. Or is there? Yeah, there is. Oh, that's a Vangavot right there. Crazy strong play.
Once again, I don't recognize the card, so
Uh, Valgavot. Uh, VALG.
let's see. Valgavoth, Terror Eater.
Yes,
Let's have a look.
it is certainly a strong one. Also from the Duskmourn set. It's, there is some text. It's quite a little bit better than the Baneslayer Angel.
Yeah, it seems so. So here we have Thomas playing the giant Goyfs
Yeah.
archetype, and there we
Yes.
have an honorable Goyf.
Yes, and it is gonna be big trouble for
Yeah.
Harri, but obviously being a combo deck anything can happen, but let's see here.
To being a combo deck, Harri has so far played pretty fairly this game.
Yes, and it is gonna be Wasteland coming down on the battlefield, which well does not solve the problem of there being a 9/9 lifelink flyer staring at the face, and prismatic ending not really the solution to the problem either. But yeah, it is. Man, Duskmourn was.
Ooh!
That's a cool one.
So Ensnaring Bridge has just hit the board.
Yeah, which does prevent attacks from happening if someone has more cards than the.
Yeah, and I mean, being on June colors, Thomas most likely have a variety of answers to it, but does he happen to have it right now is the question, because Ensnaring Bridge will hold the board for a long time, if not.
Yeah, and there is. You can cast spells from the Vagavot, but prismatic ending is gonna be.
Yeah, you don't get to pay colors to it.
I do think you can pay colors to it, as you get to play them for any color from the clause. No, did the Valga? I don't think it was.
Let's check.
I think it was for free that you get to cast them. I know when I played, I've only played it in limited formats, and usually the body was enough to force a concession here. Oh, it is.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, you pay life instead of. Yeah, you pay life instead of the
Yeah.
mana, so it's not gonna get colors for it.
But there is actually now Tainted Pact, which will eventually solve this Ensnaring Bridge problem. So it will basically roll through your deck. You'll exile cards from the top of your deck until you find a card you want to keep, or you find two cards with the same name, which may be the case with the basic lands, but otherwise the decks are opted to not so-called fizzle with the Tainted Pact. So something like Abrupt Decay or...
That is the card here. I believe that is an abrupt decay with a newspaper art. And it is gonna be cast on the Ensnaring Bridge.
Yep, and this will free the
Yeah,
combat.
I'm sure Tomas is not going to cast the Ensnaring Bridge from the Vangavot.
Yeah, he is happy just to exile it.
Can, of course, go for ending on the Battlescar token to attack with the Fanatic. Seems like a cheap enough move, which does force a jump block from Scrap Thrower as well.
Yeah, but does he have the land for it? Is the
No, you pay
oh, you pay
life.
you pay life. Yeah, yeah. True,
So
true.
it's a pretty cheap one, and looks like that is going to be the line here.
Yeah. Finds the way.
There is still a tank to be had here. Thinking of what to go for.
Yeah, players might be also thinking that will this work? Yeah, Valkavoth went to the judge sitting next to the players to be checked.
But the answer will be that you can cast it for effectively 0 colors, which is enough to deal with the Battlescar token.
Wow, that's things are pretty much going for the Tomas way here. Oh yeah, and Scrap Troll goes there as well.
Yes, and that is
Oh
going
boy.
to be 13 life gained here. For Tomas and a Scrap Thrower being cast. Sure if enough life was gained there, but probably not going to matter too much, as
Yeah, that's game
Harri
one.
is gonna scoop up the cards.
Wow. There was some things you don't see every day in this
Yeah,
game.
Valkavoth being a really nice Goyf. Goyf for the deck. These Chant type of reanimators have, or even all the reanimator-ish decks have been quite popular even recently.
In European Highlander, yeah, they have
Yeah,
a well, one of the staying powers in the format.
yeah, it is not something that you used to play in the mid-range decks.
Hmm.
Well, I'm just gonna put reanimate, animate dead, and random entomb and some discard outlets, and if the things line up well, then it's gonna be really devastating, and it's something I think new. Even in the constructed format, the mid-range reanimator decks are
Hmm.
kind of something that has evolved throughout the recent years.
Yeah, yeah. They tend to have either mid-range decks or reanimator decks, but now when they are having a good kind of a hybrids, they are actually
Yeah,
functioning pretty effectively.
for sure.
And yeah, not just in Highlander, but in
Yeah, even in
many
Legacy, the
formats.
blue-black reanimator deck being very capable of winning just fair game with the frogs and the interaction.
Mm, very much true. But let's jump back to the game and see how we are going. And yeah, that is a start of the
Yeah,
that is a start we don't want to see as an opposing player to Ragavan.
yeah, the famous Ragavan being dashed here, interestingly enough, from the Lotus Beta. This this is always an interesting choice to decide whether you dash the Ragavan or just play it for its normal cost, as generally dashing leads into a cycle where you have to dash it every turn, and it starts to actually cost a lot of mana, kind
Hmm.
of a in a cumulative way even. But that is gonna be an attack, and Glimmer Post is the card that Ragavan exiles.
Yep, so no extra value gained from there, but still a treasure is there, and you still have the Ragavan to do more of the same.
Yes, and that is gonna be an Urza Saga for Harri. Probably one of the most powerful decks or card lands in the deck. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. There's gonna be a survey land, I believe. That is a red-green survey land being played for the Tomas's side.
Yeah, the land bases in Highlander have evolved a lot. Basically, you start with, if you are a multicolor deck, you start with duels, then you go fetch lands, then you tend to go with shock lands, but nowadays you have like more options. There were triomes at one point, but once again then when the new survey lands came, they basically replaced all the triomes in there, and then of course after those lands you are already somewhere around 30 lands, and then you just add the wasteland and some man lands and you're basically done.
Yeah, and Bloodcast is gonna be coming with the landfall, and the Ragavan was not dashed on turn 2, but now gonna hit the battlefield again with haste.
So Ursa Saga is also active, so is this just like baiting a removal out from?
It could be, but
Oh, alright, that's a good hit.
that is gonna be a good one. And Inquisition is going to be cast from Harri's deck against himself. And it is gonna be a portable hole,
Yeah.
tainted pact, and not sure with what the third spell that it can choose is.
Yeah, me neither. And Dig Through Time seems to be there as well.
Yes, and it is gonna be tainted pact being taken here. Tainted pact actually having being a combo piece in some Signaton decks with Thassa's Oracle.
Mhm. Good classic. In the end of turn, Ragavan gets returned, and then there is a construct coming in.
Yes. Playing constructed, so to speak.
Mhm. It was interesting that Harri did not go for the construct to block Ragavan, because how bad would it have been if it just gets killed before blocks? It still takes a removal out of hand.
Yeah, I think there are like arguments sometimes where you want to do that, but
Of course, constructs get a whole lot bigger in this deck because it relies on artifacts pretty heavily. So you might not want to trade just 1/1 to Ragavan when it easily gets to 5/5 in a couple of turns.
yeah, I think the main reasons to not make the construct is that you can present counter spell and maybe affect the lines being taken until the end step.
Yeah, somehow at least myself just give so much value for Ragavan connecting that I would not let it happen if necessary.
Yeah, I don't do that either. I never give my opponent's card if I have the choice.
Yeah. So Portable Hole took off the guest there, and now it's hitting for 4 with the construct.
I believe it should be 5 with the seat of the sign, or was it marked for 4?
didn't pay attention, but yeah, it was my mistake to say 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been 5, but
Okay, well, we're gonna have to keep an eye on that.
are we counting for Goyfs? Give us Barrow Goyf. Nice.
Shiny barrel Goyf. Gonna be
But
cast.
it's not too effective for now. It's just trading to construct.
Yeah, with the 4/5 construct are not doing so well against the 5 power. 5 power things. Let's see if the constructs will grow before the combat happens. Gonna be 4 mana and a Ursa Paradox Engine. Or no, it's not Paradox. It's Lord Artificer maybe. I don't remember what the full name is, but Ursa nonetheless.
Yeah, let's remind ourselves of the cards. So it's
Which does
Lord High Artificer.
yes, and it does allow makes a construct and allows all artifacts to be tapped for blue mana, and for 5 mana you get to exile the top card and play without paying its mana cost.
Yeah, this guy tended to be a modern stable as well, but it disappeared as quickly as it appeared.
Yes, well, Mox Opal being banned was a big reason why Ursa did disappear.
Yep.
And it is gonna be a bitter triumph discarding Atraxa before the construct makes its way there. So
This is pretty different kind of a match than we have seen earlier.
yes, obviously being a little bit more grindy.
2 blue mana getting from there.
Gonna be 3 bouncing own Urza with Otavara.
But was Otavara, is it for own?
Yes, it is. I believe.
Yeah, it is.
There is a Soul Guide Lantern, so the Atraxa is not that scary of a threat here.
Yep.
But the Barrow will might get through if there is a removal spell from Tomas's side. But surely taking his time to make a decision here.
Yep. And yeah, Harri is also taking it very careful with the Atraxa. He could have tapped the mana also from the Lantern there, but he sacrifices the 10 power hit for this turn to use mana from the construct, which is fine. You don't want to see Atraxa on the battlefield.
Yes. What is gonna be the play here? It's gonna be a Ragavan being dashed.
Did you forget about the construct? No?
I think it just wanted one of them to go through for the value there, but I believe that's gonna be a game for Harri pretty soon.
Yeah, because he has like 16 power already. No, 18 power on the battlefield,
power.
yeah. So you don't need much more to finish this.
So gonna have to have a remove a spell probably if there is the Urza coming down, which does pump
Yeah, it's basically the lethal already.
Yes. Obviously with a reanimate you can shrink the constructs by forcing the Soul Guide Lantern to be sacrificed here. But yeah, surely taking the time, thinking things through. Sure, how much you can do with just one mana.
Yeah. And as we can see, even though named like a Paradox combo engine by Harri, the deck has actually played pretty fair once again in this game. But once again, Sega tokens and those constructs just can be so big on themselves that they can finish these
Well, that
games.
is Dark Ritual and casting some card. Is that? Do you recognize the card?
I don't. If the chat has any idea about what's just played, we would like to hear it as well, because yeah, neither of us can recognize it now.
Looks like Chain of Smog. That is gonna discard
yeah.
some cards. Almost like a hymn to Turak there. And Harri can choose to copy it, which I think he maybe even should. Because it would result in Tomas discarding 2 cards, but is not the case here. Discarding Dig Through Time and Talisman, leaving the Urza as the last card in hand. So Cling to Dust to draw a card. And with no land in play, this should be lethal.
Yep, what you gonna do? Yeah,
This
quick
gonna be a fast
Urza from there and then just to the red zone. Yep, that will finish the second game, and we will be heading to game 3 here on the third round as well.
Yes, so far being somewhat quick of matches, not at least in terms of turns, but obviously lots of complex decisions being made here.
But once again, we had a good match to follow at least.
Yes.
As said, all the games we have observed have had something going on both sides of the table, so not much of a non-game so far. But I would love to see Paradox Engine doing its thing here.
Yes. Paradox Engine is the namesake card of the deck and allows all permanents to be untapped when you cast a spell, and that's an easy way to go infinite.
Yep. If you name your deck after a card, you'll need to live for it. Give us a good Paradox Engine in the last game.
But with the Highlander format being singleton, you don't always get to see the card that you named for your deck for.
Yeah, but once we just saw, you don't always need it to.
Yeah, maybe it could be like as a commander, Paradox Engine.
Yep.
It would be quite a format if you could choose non-creatures for like commander type or companion type of things.
Is it a threat or a possibility?
Well, that everyone can make their own decisions on that. It can be quite fun.
Yeah, this is my only my personal opinion, but I think we don't need more any kind of a uh, commander formats in the in the game. Sorry for all the viewers who disagree with me, but
Yes, and we will be going to the game 3 shortly. As
yep.
players draw their hands. It is gonna be a mulligan for Harri.
So game number 3, and I think we don't. This time we have uh, played in a decent pace, so there should not be an issue with the clock. So hopefully we see a good game of 3.
Yes, exactly.
As you said, mulligan is issued by Harri here, but let's see if he can find a decent 6.
Paradox Engine decks do have the problem that they are somewhat of a critical mass deck, and mulliganing can hurt quite a bit here. But let's see, I believe that's the white-ish card might be a forensic gadgeteer, which is actually a blue card, but which does generate infinite mana with Basalt Monolith, for example. But let's see what the bottom is gonna be. Not really catching more than just a glimpse. I believe one of them might be a Chrome Mox, but we'll see.
Yeah, at least it seems to be a keep from Harri, so we'll get to
Yes,
play with this hand.
Tomas is
I was already waiting for the Ragavan, but it was a bit more fair option this time.
yeah, how many turn 1 Ragavans could there be in one tournament? But there is a baleful Strix at least to stop the threat of Channeler eventually. It's gonna be just a fetch land, and there was a Tundra in hand, I think. So going down to 19 to crack the misty rainforest. Search up a land. It's gonna be a commercial district. The red-green survey land.
Interesting to opting to go for surveil here immediately.
Yes, not could be the end-tomb strategy with reanimate in hand to try to get a lucky hit with it.
Well, that's just another land.
It's gonna be swing for 1.
19 even.
And just a pass of the turn, and we will be seeing more surveillance action here for sure.
Yep.
Meticulous Archive does hit the battlefield. So it's so so often that these server lands actually get fetched in the format. So happy with the draw. There is a Chromox in hand, so we might have some explosive stuff coming from Harri's side.
He really is taking his time to navigate through this, but
Yes, obviously Chromox being a somewhat difficult card to use, as you have to exile a card to use to get mana out of it.
and when you already have mulliganed, it is, even though it is fast mana, it's a one more resource down from you, so not always happy to use it, but here we go.
Yeah, and it was a Sahiri being put on the Chromox, so producing blue or red mana from the Chromox, and it is gonna be a 3-drop here, Cryptic Coat, and it does manifest a card, or disguise actually. You get to put the top card in as a 2/2 creature, and then you may flip it if it's a creature for the cost. Kind of similar to manifest, but the disguise cards do have a ward cost for 2 mana. But Cryptic Coat is something that is going to be really annoying to deal with in the long game, just bouncing back to its hand and making more creatures, obviously being unblockable as well.
Yeah, true.
But not many. These are equipments that you can't actually equip.
But still, in the end, it's only a 3 mana 3/2, and if Tomas just can keep his tempo going on, this might not be more than a more than a 3/2 creature for a long time.
Yes, but
Of course, it came down on a turn 2, which is good for Harri with the
yes,
Chromox, so he kind of got ahead with it.
yes, and in the mulligan, with the mulligan, it does help to have a card that
Produces like long-term value.
yes, exactly. And with the Strix in hand, we could be seeing a Strix and just bounce off the Cryptic Coat in the end step, but we'll see if there's a more powerful option to go for.
So Tomas' turn was not so effective again, just playing a survey land and pass.
Yeah, I wonder what the hand is. Probably spells like reanimates could be stuck in there with no targets. Just hoping to draw something to have a target. Obviously not hitting any creatures with the serval.
Yeah, and is there swords to plowshares in Harri's hand, or?
There is a balance at least, which is a very fun card. It's not the best when you have more creatures, but
Yeah. Yeah, balance is one of those cards that are like exactly how Richard Garfield designed the game to be.
yes, it is. This is a strong one for sure.
Still just playing tap lands from Tomas' side of the board, so not really looking looking too good there.
That is gonna be engineered explosive storm from Harri, which can deal with the channeler if he so wants it to be.
Yeah, but it definitely is not a threat at this point.
Yes,
Of course, it is a way to fill your graveyard with spells, but well, okay, yeah, Harri decides to go for it with one, but
we'll see if I guess not choosing not to use the engineered explosives,
right away, yeah.
wanting a little bit more value.
Which he will not get since Tomas will not play any more things towards it.
Yes, but that is effectively a time walk if your opponent doesn't cast any spells.
Yeah, well, Tomas has already time walked his like 2 times.
Yes, that is true for sure. So the hand is balanced, thought monitor, I believe Orc is bowmasters. That makes sense with that bowmasters would be a reason not to use the.
Alright, Voldrath's stronghold is there now.
Yes, not very strong with no creatures in the graveyard.
Yep. And so it is starting to seem that Tomas has just been swarmed by lands and not finding. Well, some 5-drops he have there. Fury is played, yeah. It will be a good
Yes,
card here.
it will kill the Strix and provide a pretty fast clock.
Yeah, and of course now not using the explosives on his own turn, Harri has an option to just return the this cloak thing to his hand in the end step if the creature would have somehow died, but that's not the case. All right, there was a clean answer to.
Yes, the bowmasters will hit the battlefield, pinging the Dragon's Rage channeler. It's just
And it's much more handy to play bowmasters after the fury has already been
yes.
played.
The explosives does present an interesting angle now, because you kind of are locked into it for one, even though you had the answer in hand. So it's an interesting way to play the game. And Teferi time Raveler will.
And he goes for fury. That's interesting to see.
Yes, because the Fury is gonna come back and kill Teferi and the other bowmasters and the zombie army. But to be fair, there is quite a lot of pressure, because the manifest card cannot be killed by Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there is a way to generate an extra mana.
And now it is a consistent source of 3 damage per turn, and being on 7 life already, it's not a too slow of a clock.
Yes, and it is really annoying to deal with, because every turn you can just bounce it and replay it. Well, not yet, as there is no 5 mana in play, but
Mm-hmm.
kind of have to answer the cloak itself.
Yeah, but since we were earlier speaking about not having too much of a non-games before, I think this might be one close to it, because Tomas really has he had any other plays than like
Just the channeler
Fury and the channeler,
Fury.
yeah.
Wonder, there has to be some other spell, I feel like, in Tomas's hand, but 'cause I think you would mulligan a 5-lander there.
Even if you had some fetch lands and you rely on survey lands, it's not quite good enough to.
That is
Go.
gonna be a formal where hitting the battlefield that does reanimate a 3 or less mana cost creature. And it is gonna be just the bowmasters to make the clock 1 turn faster,
Yep.
and the disguise will disguise itself and hit for 3 damage, putting Tomas really in the ropes.
Thomas reminding himself about how am I going to deal with this guy?
Not sure what the thinking is here, because it cannot be blocked.
He was about to try it still.
Yes, but Harri, obviously knowing what his own cards do, pointing it out. And it is gonna be another land drawn, I think. But we will see what happens.
There is a plenty of cards in Thomas's hand, but they
Yes,
don't seem to be too effective.
that was a loud laugh from the hall as well. Not sure if probably didn't make it into the stream, but was quite something. It's gonna be
Another land.
surveyed land. Rakdos 1. We will see what.
Is it Valvagoth again?
I don't believe it is, but I'm also not sure. It is not Vangavot, I know that much. But I do not know what it is. It does have a much shorter name. After doing some investigation with my nose in the screen.
Yep, Thomas is now visualizing his limited resources and how to use them in a way that keeps him alive, because that's the fight for
Yes.
now.
We will see what is happening. Some sort of spell being cast here. For 2 mana.
Yeah, but obviously the body language gives us the vibe that he's not very satisfied with his.
Gonna be Witherbloom Apprentice.
Yeah, Magecraft thing, and that's actually a combo with the Chain of Smoke we said saw earlier.
Yes, and well, it doesn't look like there is a Chain of Smoke in hand. And it is gonna be a turn being passed.
There is a life gain from the
Yeah.
Magecraft, so that will keep you alive.
Yes, assuming there is a instant or sorcery spell in hand. Didn't like the Magecraft mechanic in my draft games. It's gonna be
So all the orcs go for the suicide mission as well.
yeah, which is weird, a little bit weird, since it's just free to block the bowmaster and the token, unless there is a way to animate the bowmasters, which would lead to an interesting scenario.
There is a spell needed to be cast. Malakir Rebirth, is it?
Yes.
Trigger from there, keeping you alive, yeah.
And I wonder what the apprentice. Okay, and that is gonna be.
So he didn't block with the apprentice.
No, it can't block the cryptic god one. I believe it blocked the orc army. Just wasn't assigned that way.
Yeah. Well, that will be the match then.
Yes. And we are probably gonna try to get a winner's interview.
Yeah, I think we might go to check if there is another match still going on. We have a reserve table. If they haven't started the match 3 yet and they are perhaps heading to it, we will take them as a reserve match for the stream. But otherwise, I think we will have Harri Turkki's interview next.
Yes.
We will find out and be back in a minute or couple.